Indiana's allowed 100+ in 4 of its 6 losses this season. So that alarm we kept hearing, it has numbers behind it now. This is Indiana Fever Daily. The Dream put 108 on us. Angel Reese made history on the glass, and Caitlin Clark debuted a signature shoe on a rough night. Scott Agnes writing in Fieldhouse Files.
Atlanta dominated inside, scoring a season-high 60 points in the paint, while Indiana battled foul trouble throughout the second half. The Fever made a fourth-quarter push, including a 13-3 run with Clark on the bench, and tied the game at 93 before the Dream closed it out late.
4-game streak, done. Atlanta dropped 108, put up 60 in the paint, and the box score confirmed what the numbers had been pointing to all week.
And here's the part I can't get past. Indiana's now allowed triple digits in 4 of its 6 losses. At some point, Sarah, you quit calling that a bad night. The interior defense is telling on itself.
Right, because the offense gave them enough. Clark led with 26. Mitchell and Boston piled on. The Big Three put up 75. They tied it at 93. The leaks on the other end.
Clark debuts the Caitlin 1 in a game where foul trouble buries her. 1 shot in the 4th, no points. The Nike calendar and the actual basketball calendar weren't exactly synced up Thursday night.
And Reese, 21 and 11, gets to her 1,000th career rebound, fastest in league history, and she does it against Indiana. That milestone kind of puts the paint problem in neon.
Against us, of all teams. The scheme question for Stephanie White just got a lot harder to wave off, and we'll get into that. The Fever can look like a top-tier offense one night and still get buried in the paint the next. Are we mostly talking personnel and rebounding, or is Stephanie White's scheme giving up certain shots and betting on rotations that just aren't there yet?
Honestly, the reporting points to both, but discipline is the part White keeps bringing up herself. After that Washington loss in mid-May, she was blunt. Her exact quote was, "We put a lot of pressure on our offense to be perfect when we don't consistently defend." And she framed it as a coaching staff failure, not just a personnel issue. Then you get the Atlanta Dream loss. Per SI, the Fever blew a double-digit lead for the 6th time in 7 games. Up 11 after a Kelsey Mitchell ankle breaker, then they lose by 17. The fouls were part of it too. Atlanta shot 35 free throws to Indiana's 29, and White called out the foul rate as a key reason they lost. CBS Sports had already noted this when the Fever were 5-5. The breakdowns looked like a pattern tied to missed rotations and teams targeting Clark defensively, which Clark has said doesn't surprise her.
If White is calling it out publicly and owning the coaching side, why does the same breakdown keep showing up? Is there an in-game piece, challenge usage, lineup management, making it worse?
There's at least one concrete example. SI pointed out that in the Dream loss, White didn't challenge a foul call on Clark late in the first half. Clark later sat in foul trouble during a critical fourth-quarter stretch, and that choice ended up shaping the game. Now White has to turn the press conference diagnosis into in-game adjustments, because that gap is exactly how a Fever season can tilt sideways. This one's from Playoff Status.
Where are the Fever going in the playoff? The Fever playoff picture table presents the probabilities that the Fever will win each playoff spot. All future unplayed games are assumed 1 lost with a probability based upon relative team strengths.
Strip away the noise from the week, and there's a number that doesn't care about vibes. Playoff Status has Indiana at 9-7, 9th in the win column and 3rd in the East. 2 losses to Atlanta sting, but the seeding math is still intact. The Lynx and Aces are running away up top, different tier. Indiana's fight is home court in round 1.
Right, and that's why I can't shrug off the paint thing anymore. Triple digits allowed in 4 of our 6 losses. That stat can decide whether 9-7 turns into a 4 seed or a 6 seed by August. The offense isn't the problem. Clark hung 26 in foul trouble against the Dream. You don't go tinkering with a top 3 offense. You fix the rotations, giving up 108 and 113 to the same team.
Fieldhouse Files with Scott Agnes.
Sophie Cunningham delivered her best performance since joining Indiana, scoring a season-high 24 points. She sank a buzzer-beating three to close the first quarter and finished 6 for 7 from range. Kelsey Mitchell added 27 points. Caitlin Clark recorded her fourth double-double of the season with 21 points and 14 assists, and Aaliyah Boston finished with 18 points and 11 rebounds, as the Fever led by as many as 24.
So here's the flip side of the night we just talked about. June 17th, Indiana hangs 113 on Toronto, a franchise high for points in regulation, 6 straight at Gainbridge.
Sophie Cunningham, 6 of 7 from 3, 24 points, buzzer beater to close the first. That's the version of this team everybody fell in love with.
And Clark with the quiet line, 21 and 14, fourth double-double of the year. Mitchell drops 27. The offense was never the question.
Right. And that's what bugs me looking back. They blew another double-digit lead in this one and still won by 22. The cracks were there. Toronto just couldn't punish them. Atlanta could.
Brian Hamilton has the details over at The Athletic.
79 games. Angel Reese gets to 1,000 rebounds faster than anyone in WNBA history, and she does it against us. That's the paint problem, right there on The Athletic's front page.
Tina Charles needed 89. Reese clipped 10 games off that, and Indiana was the backdrop for the milestone. That kind of night fits the profile. And it lands on a real standings page, 9 and 7, third in the East per The Athletic. So you can be a playoff team and still have a documented liability sitting in the middle of it.
Right, and that's what makes it gnaw at me. Clark gave you 26 through foul trouble. Scoring isn't the thing sinking you. You can't keep handing the same forward career nights and call it a one-off.
If you like having a daily beat on the Fever, try Angel City Daily Podcast, a daily ACFC supporter briefing with match reaction, NWSL standings, roster moves, women's soccer in Los Angeles, and supporter buzz. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll find links to every story we covered today in the show notes. So if one caught your ear, it's there for a closer read. That's Indiana Fever Daily Podcast for today. This is a Lantern podcast.